Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I want to talk about all of the books that I read in February. I had a bit of a bad reading month in February. It wasn't the greatest. I didn't read as much as I did the month before, sadly, and I just didn't enjoy the reads as much because I have my first very low rating of the year from this month. So let's talk about all of the books that I read in February. Okay, so the first book I read was Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This was a reread for me. I am still in the middle of doing my Boys of Tommen reread vlog, but I took a break after reading this one just because the Boys of Tommen series is a very heavy series, so I wanted to take a break to read some other stuff, and I'm going to go back to reading this series eventually. I just don't know when I'm going to carry on, but this was the first one I've finished. I don't really need to say much about this. You guys know my love for Boys of Tommen, and this one was a 5-star, obviously, because I love the Boys of Tommen book. So for the next two books that I read, these are ones you would have seen in my mood read video that went out at the start of the month. I read The Wild Card by Stephanie Archer. I gave this a 4.75 star. I listened to the audiobook of this. I genuinely really enjoyed this book, and I really do enjoy the Vancouver Storm series. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I did book 4 in the series, Gloves Off. Honestly, I like the Vancouver Storm series, but it's not like an all-time favourite when it comes to hockey romances. Honestly, I think my favourite like sports romance series honestly kind of has to be Windy City, just because of how much I love it. But I genuinely really enjoyed this book. I liked the relationship between the main characters. I thought they were fun. I liked their banter. It didn't give me that 5-star feeling that I was kind of hoping for with the last book in a series, but it was still a very good and fun read. Then the next one, which I also read in my mood read video, was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I ended up giving this a 5-star. I absolutely loved this book so freaking much. I loved the relationship between Justin and Emma. I loved their like banter, their dynamic with each other, and this was like the first 5-star that Abby Jimenez has gotten from me. I'm genuinely really enjoying reading her books. I've really enjoyed the whole Part of Your World like trilogy, and my mum has been reading them as well, and she's been really enjoying them. She's read both Part of Your World and Yours Truly, so this is the next one she has to read, and I think she's probably going to read it soon because I know she did really enjoy the first two. But honestly, the Abby Jimenez's that I've read so far haven't gotten under a 4-star from me. I think I gave Part of Your World 4.5. I gave Yours Truly 4.75, and then this one was a 5-star. So they've been actually slowly growing in like their ratings. So yeah, but I genuinely really loved this book. It's such a good like little book. I wish I kind of had read it in summer instead of reading it in the dead ass of winter, but oh well. I never read seasonally. Okay, so for the next two reads, they were meant to be part of a 24-hour readathon that I was filming for my channel, but I failed at said readathon and then hated everything about everything I'd filmed, so I ended up deleting the footage, so that's no longer going to be a video, but I still did read these two books, so I'm going to include them in this. You just won't see the actual footage of me reading them because yeah, just but up first I read Dust Storm by Maggie Gates. I gave this a 4-star. I genuinely really enjoyed this book. I've read one other Maggie Gates book before, and I absolutely loved that one, and I gave it a 5-star. The reason that this one got a 4-star from me is just because I had a couple of issues. So first I'll start off with the main girl in this. I think her name's Cassandra. Yeah, Cassandra. She was meant to be a grumpy character. Fair enough. But honestly, sometimes her personality slipped from grumpy to her just being downright bitchy for no reason. Which, like, I mean, look, I get grumpy characters. They have to have a bit of, like, bitchiness and moodiness about them. That's fair enough. But, like, sometimes the way she acted, especially towards Christian's kids, because he's a single dad, sometimes I was just like, okay, look, I get you're a grumpy person and you don't like children, but maybe rein it in a little bit. Just rein it in slightly. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that, and that kind of annoyed me. And then there was a nickname that gave me the ick. Now, she is like, Cassandra's like this very much like city girl. She's from New York. She's very much like high fashion, privileged kind of girl. And she basically, something happens and she has to go end up being like this PR person on the Griffith Brothers ranch. And basically she's working there for a while and she's around Christian's kids because she has to end up staying with him. And she doesn't like it when people call her ma'am. So like if they go, yes, ma'am, or mom, or whatever the fuck you say, I don't know. But she doesn't like that. So when Christian's kids were calling her that, she was like, no, I don't like it. So they started calling her my queen. Now, that is in itself is slightly cringy to me anyway, but they're kids. So I was like, I'll just let them get away with it. But then, not even like, I think 2 chapters later, he was calling her my queen when they were in the bedroom. And that's just a bit ugh to me. Just no, I don't like that. Like, especially like when like it just doesn't really suit the like personalities of the characters anyway, in my opinion. But also it's just the fact that his kids called her that. Then he was calling her that when they were in the middle of a spicy scene. And then a couple of chapters after that, the kids were calling her my queen again. And I was just like, no, this is just weird and it's giving me the ick and I do not like this. So because of those 2 things, this book could not be a 5-star for me. It was a really good book and I am definitely looking forward to reading the rest of the series because I genuinely just had such a fun time with this book. But those 2 things just kind of gave me the ick. But I think this book really set well for book 2 and I'm very much looking forward to reading book 2. And then the last book that I finished this month, the one that was meant to be in the 24-hour readathon. This was my worst read of the month, and that is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. 1 star. Genuinely 1 star. I was not a fan of the characters of this book, really, and I didn't, with this story, like, okay, I like books that have heavy topics in them. I read a lot of books with heavy topics in them. My all-time favourite series is Boys of Tommen. Like, that is like one of my all-time favourite reads. I absolutely love Boys of Tommen, and that has a lot of heavy traumatic topics in it. But the heavy traumatic topics in there isn't all just mashed into one very short book. It's different things with different characters in a bunch of very long books. Whereas with this had so much trauma and like stuff like that shoved into like 330 pages and it just felt unnecessary. Like, it just kind of felt like it was going, here's this thing, here's this thing, here's this thing. And it was like boom, 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 boom. And it wasn't taking a minute to let you digest any of the information you were getting. It was just jumping from one thing to the next. And then I felt like so much had happened in the story, but nothing happened at all at the same time. And then one thing that honestly just gave me the major ick was when we found out how many people Milo had slept with. So we're all pretty accustomed with when there's a Playboy character in books like this, they've slept with a lot of people. That's a given. But with this character, they were playing, in one of the scenes, they were playing a game of Truth or Dare, and she asked him how many people he'd slept with. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And then she was like, oh, come on, you've got to have a number. And he's like, I lost count, but maybe 200. And I'm like, how are you not a walking STD? I'm sorry, what? Genuinely, I was just like, ew, no. Like, I'm sorry, like, I understand having, like, a Playboy character and they slept with a lot of people. That's fine. But it didn't have to be 200 people. 200. And they said around 200 as well, so it could have been more. And I'm just sat here like, it's a bit excessive. Just a bit excessive. So yeah, no, I wasn't a fan. I felt like this book tried to do too much, and it felt like just a big trauma dump for a lot of it. And I just wasn't connecting with the story or the characters. I did not like the couple. And by the end of it, I was just done. Like, physically done. Like, when the first time I was reading it, I was just kind of reading it while I was doing I was listening to the audiobook while doing my diamond painting. And when I stopped doing my diamond painting and went to pick up the physical book to like look at it, I was like, oh, I'm probably like only just halfway through the book. I was like, because like not much had happened, and I was like, oh, there's got to be so much story left. I was on page 200. I had like 130 pages left of this book. And I was like, how the hell are they going to wrap up every single loose end in this book? And I mean, they did, but it just felt so rushed. So yeah, this was a 1 star. I did not like this. And sadly, that does mean that Hannah Bonham Young has run out of chances with me. Because I said this was going to be my last chance for her to stay on my like authors I pick up list. But sadly, ever since Out on a Limb, all of her books have been kind of disappointing to me. And Out on a Limb was just the one-off that I actually genuinely really loved and enjoyed. And I still love Out on a Limb. But the rest of the ones I've read by her, I just have not enjoyed. So sadly, I will not be buying any more Hannah Bonham Young books. And this one is also getting sold. My mum is going to put it up on her Vinted for me. So yeah, those are the 5 books that I actually finished this month. I also DNF'd 2 books this month, and I also started 2 other books that I did not finish. So let's go over the 2 books that I DNF'd. Okay, so the first one that I DNF'd, I was part of my mood reading video, which you saw me DNF in the video, and that was Keep Me Never by Megan Brandy. I DNF'd this on the 14th of February, and I was 38% of the way through the book. And literally, because on Storygraph you can do like your reason for DNFing, I put, Chase is just such a whiny fucker, I couldn't do it. And that is genuinely how I feel. Like, honestly, I wanted to give that book a chance because I'd read the rest of the books in the Boys of Avik series. I'd read the first 3 books. I didn't like book 3 that much, but I was like, look, I'm going to give book 4 a chance, see how I feel. I wanted to pull my hair out. I was so just annoyed. I was fed up with the story. Was not enjoying it. And I was like, yeah, no, I can't. I physically cannot do this. Chase as a character, I did not like him much from book 1. And by his book, he was just 10 times worse. So, and also, it was steaming up to be another freaking love triangle. Get something new, Megan Brandy. Get something new. You do not need a love triangle in every single one of your books. Book 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have love triangles. And I'm fed up. I can't do it. So yeah, Megan Brandy is another one who I'm never going to buy from again. And also that book was just, no. And then the other book that I DNF'd was Taking Denver by Kayla Kyang, I think it is. I DNF'd this on the 25th of February. I basically had the arc for book 4 in this series. So when I signed up for the arc, I didn't realise it was for book 4. So I was like, crap, so I have to read the first 3 books to be able to get to it. So I started reading book 1, which is called Taking Denver. And I DNF'd it at 13%. And this is what I wrote. Literally only 40 pages in, they've had sex once in the first chapter, made out twice, been shot at, all of this happening in one day, and they're already wondering what they will do without each other. Yeah, no, I can't do this. That is quite literally what I was going through with that book. Jesus. Literally, by like 40 pages in, they were already talking as if the fact that they could not be together was going to be the end of the world. They weren't even together. They literally met in the hotel gym, shagged each other, didn't even know each other's names, then saw each other again later in the evening. They got shot at. They go back to her hotel room, and literally one of the lines I read was like the female main character Denver laughed And the main guy went, I'm going to soak up this moment because I don't know how I'm going to live without her laugh, and I know that being around her could be the death of me. And I'm like, okay, first of all, if you think being around this woman is going to be the death of you, leave. Second of all, you've known this woman for less than 24 hours, my dude. Get a grip. So, yeah, couldn't do that. And I won't be reading the arc because I obviously don't vibe with that author's writing. I appreciate getting arcs, but if I know I'm not going, if I like start reading a book that's an arc and I know I'm not going to enjoy it by a certain percentage in, I will just DNF it and let the author know, or like find a way to let them know that I'm not reading the arc, because genuinely I can't do it. And then for the 2 books that I've started that I have not finished, we have Face Off by Chelsea Curto. I am 40% of the way through this book, and not gonna lie, I do not understand the hype. I've seen so many people love this series. I'm 40% of the way through this and I'm bored. I honestly don't understand why this is so beloved, because frankly I feel like nothing has happened. Like, I'm 40% of the way through the book and I feel like I've not experienced anything from this story, and like it's not giving me anything. So I'm kind of just bored with this as of right now. But I'm still going to carry on reading a bit more of it, give it a bit more of a chance, but it honestly may end up being my first DNF of March. I really am DNFing a lot this year. I think it's because I just don't have time for books that I know are going to be mediocre. That sounds so harsh, but you know what? There's so many books out there that I want to read. I'm not going to waste time on ones that I'm just not enjoying. And then the other one that I'm reading is Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is for a reading vlog that I'm doing. I'm currently on page 98 at the moment. I'm enjoying this, but I'm not in love yet. But that is the case with Abby Jimenez books for me. I tend to enjoy it a little. Like, I don't really enjoy it as much at the start, but then once I really get into the story, I end up loving it. So, yeah. I'm currently 98 pages in, so this is good, but I can't fully, like, form an opinion yet on it. But, yeah, no, those are all of the books that I read in February. I didn't have the best reading month, so I'm hoping that March will be better, because I do have some really fun videos planned, and I'm excited for the books that I have to read in those videos. But yeah, no, that is it for today's video.